Well, hello, book nerds. It's a little rainy and it's a little gross today on this fine August afternoon. But today we're going to do kind of a wrap up of what I've been reading over the last few months because I have a ton of books. I did some math here in how many books I have read between April, May, June, and July, since I haven't talked to you guys about a lot of the books. I've read 56 books in the past 4 months. We're not going to discuss all 56 of those books. I have the ones that I have my physical copies, and if there's something that stuck out in my list that I think you guys should read, we're going to discuss it. Hopefully this isn't a super long video. I'm going to try and keep it short, but we all know I love to yap. So we're going to go over some quick statistics of what I've read so far in the past 4 months, and then we will get into the books that I have finished, what I have in front of me, which is a lot, and kind of go through some of the books and series that I read and kind of hit that. So I guess let's get into this because this is going to be... I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best. But if you could, do the YouTube things, the comment, the subscribe thing, that'd be great. I always love hearing from you guys and what you guys have been reading and what has been tickling your fancy over the past few months. But let's get into some stats. So I have read, 56 books over the last 4 months, which is a total of 15,704 pages. I also listened to 224.63 hours of audiobooks. Most of those were checked out from my libraries, my Libby app, or an immersion read. As far as physical books, I read 32 physical books, 21 audiobooks, and 3 digital books. I did finally find my Kindle, and I'm super happy about it. I'm very upsetty spaghetti because it was in the one box in my bedroom that I hadn't unpacked yet from the move. So that was annoying. But we're going to kick it back to April. This is my reading journal, so I have all of my stats and stuff of the things that I read. The month of April was basically me reading the Vancouver Storm series by Stephanie Archer. I read four of those books. I liked it. It was a good little hockey romance if you're looking for it. There were a few that kind of piqued my... There were a few that I liked better, and then there was the first one. My Pretty Little Assistant was the biggest thing I remember from that book, and it drove me nuts because it was continuously happening. I did a reread of one of my favorite books, which is over here. This is one of my favorite fantasy books. This is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This is a gender-bent Aladdin retelling in 1001 Nights. You have Luli, who is the midnight merchant who saves the Prince Mazin all the time, and Prince Mazin also has a bodyguard named Aisha. That's it. The audiobook is fabulous. I did an immersion read with it whenever I read it this time, which also later, I believe it was in May, but since we're talking about the series, I did finally get around to reading The Ashfire King, and it is just as good. This one, not a book to slump. I'm very excited. Chelsea just announced that we are going to be getting book 3, The Midnight Merchant, in spring of next year, I believe. I believe it's in March, but I'm not 100% certain on that. I'm super excited to get through this debut trilogy. I have loved every second of this. This was great. It does Middle Eastern fantasy so well, and I just really enjoy this series. I highly recommend both books. The audiobook has different narrators for each of the 3 characters whenever they have their moments, and there's also Jin and all kinds of fun stuff. So this was a great series. Highly recommend. In April, I did also get to read Happy Ending, which is Chloe Lisa's new release for 2026. This follows Alex and Thea. I actually got to meet Chloe Lisa in May, which there is a vlog on that has more information. She did sign this book, and it's on my trophy shelf. I love this book. I felt very seen. I do in a lot of Chloe's books, but this one really hit home because two exes got together, not specifically that aspect, but Thea and Alex found themselves spinning a story of being old friends and first loves. 2 years, the ruse has grown into real friendship, just friendship despite what the friends and family seem to think. No one would ever know their bond began as a lie. Their exes invite them on a family trip, and Alex and Thea actually start to wonder if they're caught up in the lie and they don't realize that they're actually wonderful together. Alex is a restaurant owner, and Thea is a dog mom. Alex is a single dad. This just felt very seen. I loved this book. I told Chloe we needed to talk because I was not expecting to cry my eyes out while I was at work reading this book. It was such a good time. Chloe Lisa has disability rep in every single one of her books. It just, you feel seen in her romances. It's just chef's kiss. Love these ones. I did also read all of Stephanie Garber's Ballad of Never After. Ballad was my favorite book out of the series. I did unhaul that series because it is not something that I personally think that I need to keep on my shelves. I enjoyed my time in the Caraval universe, but I think moving forward, if there's any new books in that world, I think I've had a good fun time, but it is not the kind of YA books that I like to enjoy at this time. The audiobooks were great. I believe Rebecca Soler reads them. She is also the narrator for all of Marissa Meyer's books. A+, top tier. I did also read Poems and Prayers by Matthew McConaughey, and his audiobooks are always a delight. I love hearing him and his accent, easy, quick, simple. I think that audiobook was like 2 hours, so it was a good time. I also read Abby Jimenez's new book, which was not my favorite, but I did have a good time listening to the audiobook. I do believe that is all of the books relevant for April, so we're going to move on to May here. In May, I read a total of 10 books. I read a few fabulous books. Oh, I did also read some Dungeon Crawler Carl in April. I believe I read Bedlam Bride. Yes, because in May, I read Inevitable Ruin and then Parade of Horribles, which are both up there. I talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl all the time. You've seen it unless you're living under a rock. I highly recommend all of Donut and Carl's stories. They're fabulous. They are a little bit, as you move through the series, it is not more of that first book humor. It does get into some serious topics. You see some serious character growth. I absolutely adore that story, but you might commonly hear me refer to it. Have you heard about our Lord and Savior Princess Donut and her manservant Carl and her pet dinosaur Mongo? Because if not, you should absolutely read it. I also got the Maeve candy bar that Donut is, and it has Pop Rocks in it, and it's delightful. It's a great time. These is the stack from May of physical books that I have. I did reread 2 books. Actually, the one of them I reread is back in that corner. I reread Reckless, waiting for the Fever Dream release that came out that time. The first book that I read in the month of May is The Poet Empress, and this was my favorite book of the month of May. I absolutely love this book. It is very dark. Check your trigger warnings, but it is the fantasy is that they use poetry to cast magic. The main character is a concubine to the dynasty leader, who is not a great man, but this story, you really come to see why things are the way that they are. You might have a little bit of empathy for a lot of people. She's just trying to protect her younger siblings, and that if you are one of the concubines, your family gets money and is supported and food for the village. And that's the whole reason that she does this. It tells the story of two brothers who, when you look at it, they just want to be brothers, but at the same time, they're pitted against each other because of the way that the dynasty is. What parents see as strength and weaknesses is the word I was looking for. Chinese culture. I really love this book. It's also stunning and gorgeous. I absolutely love this book. I've talked about it at length. I also read all of this stack. So we have Direbound, which is basically like a Fourth Wing equivalent, but with wolves. I actually like this story better than Fourth Wing. I like Fourth Wing for the dragons. I like it for what it is. I just think that this story has better writing and just feels like a more cohesive story overall. This is book 2 in the Atlas Complex. This follows the 6 initiates through their journey. I actually enjoyed this one, but Olivia Blake is not for everybody. So if you are not a fan of the way that her writing meanders, maybe skip this one. I finished The God and the Gwisin, I believe is how you say that, by Sophie Kim. Loved this Korean folklore, Red String of Fate on a sea cruise. It was in hell, I believe. In the afterlife, yeah. So loved this. Cute little fantasy romance duology. I quite enjoyed this. I really had a good time with this. The last 2 that I have for May are going to be gay, sapphic murder mystery with some fantasy thrown in. This follows the daughter of Moriarty and the daughter of the Harkers. What's her name? Samantha. Samantha Harker is a seer. She has the same kind of connection to the beasts, and this one is actually about the Beast of Gévaudan, and you don't actually see a lot of it, but now that there's another book that comes out, that's the second time. The first time that I'd ever seen the Beast of Gévaudan was actually in Teen Wolf, way back in the early 2010s. I still love Styles. One of the best characters, best comedy relief. I really liked this. It is a slow burn for the women falling in love, but this is one of the Bindery Press books. Which imprint is this? Hold on. Inky Phoenix Press is an imprint of Bindery books. This came out in 2024, and we actually read the second book, Wayward Souls, here, but since it is part of a series, can't tell you about this one. Read this one. It is delightful. Wayward Souls actually takes place in Ireland, whereas Strange Beasts take place in England, I believe. Oh, I didn't realize that Strange Beast was a lot thicker. Fun. Loved them both. They were both delightful. If you like murder mysteries, if you like that kind, but make it gay, you're gonna love these. Highly recommend them. And then I did an immersion read of The Night and the Moth. I loved the audiobook. Loved this. Bartholomew is a King. And I'm very excited because I do believe book 2 comes out next month. So good times. Highly recommend. This is also one with the really pretty edges, and the texture of this cover is delightful. If I'm going to be waiting a long time because now that I have it in paperback, must have book 2 on paperback. It's the same thing I did with the Stardust Thief and the Ashfire King. I was very upsetty spaghetti about it because I had to wait almost a year for the second book. Now we're into June, which let me just show you my June journal spread. I love this. It says, hats off to those who dream. It is cowboy themed. Like, look at that. cute it is. This one turned out so good. So for June, most of the books that I have in physical form are romances. I did start my Red Rising journey. This book took me forever to read because the first 150 pages before they get to the trials and tribulations of the series, where they are like keening everybody, I had no desire to read this. I ended up having to get the audiobook for a bit of an immersion read to actually keep my attention to get me there. But once I got to where they actually are basically like the Hunger Games kind of setup of this, I was locked in. Immediately read it. Loved this. Had a good time. My son highly recommends it. I am starting Golden Sun, I believe is book 2. Probably this month at some point, once he has that. I did read the Evelyn Clark mystery thriller book, The Ending Right itself, through audio. Was not my favorite, which is why I typically do audio for mystery for a lot of thriller books, because it's hit or miss. I also I found a new favorite romance author. This is Laura Piper Lee's debut, Hannah Tate, Beyond Repair. This is a single mom who she finds an engagement ring, thinks her boyfriend is going to propose. He actually breaks up with her. She ends up going back home and takes her baby with them, and she falls in love with the hippie guy that lives in a treehouse next door. I love this. The sapphic women, all of the side characters in any of Laura Piper Lee's books always feel so fleshed out and so loved. And it just so happens that one of the queens in this book is named Maddie. It is not spelled the same as mine, but it was super cute. It was one of the cool reactions that I had between Laura and myself whenever I met her in May at the same convention. Had a great time with this book. I then promptly read every single book that Laura has put out. I currently have an arc for Doomsday. I'm very excited. That also comes out next month. So then we have Fever Dream by Elsie Silver. I absolutely love this. This follows Theo's little sister and his arch nemesis Emmett. Emmett is on a reality dating show, and Theo's sister is actually on the production team. I loved this. It was so sweet. I loved the way that Emmett cared for Julia. I'm not gonna lie, Theo in this book, love him. The little cameo between Theo and Winter, loved that. This was super sweet, lovely. Audiobook also fabulous. I believe the female narrator, it was her first audiobook, and you get Teddy Hamilton, so high key read it. The text conversations between the Brandt family is delightful, and I do believe the rest of the series is going to follow the rest of the Brandt siblings with their relationships. Let's see. I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and I hated it. The trope, I absolutely hate. I do have a few other of her books, so I'm going to give those a chance. I unhauled that book the day I finished it. I finished it as a hate read. I called what was going to happen way back at the beginning of the book, and I said, if this is what happened, I'm going to be upset. I was, in fact, upset. I almost threw the book and DNF'd at that point, but I was hoping that it was going to do something. It didn't. So we did that. I did read Light from Uncommon Stars through audio, which was a book recommended to me by Kayla from my 12 Recs by 12 Friends earlier this year, and I absolutely loved it. It was spacey. It was a little bit convoluted, but it had space. It had a deal with the devil. It had music. It had culture. It had a trans character. It was beautiful. I loved all of it. I had a great time with the audiobook. I also read The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. Loved that. Grief, literary book, glorious audiobook. Yep. Good. There was a few other ones that I read, but you can actually see I talked about these books in my 24-hour reading vlog. This is You with a View by Jessica Joyce. And this is my bestie, Emily Rex's second book. I am so excited and so happy for her. This is her sports. He also plays sports, but this is centered around Nash and the volleyball team that just came back to the United States. I love these. It is also signed by my queen. I absolutely love everything about Emily's sports romances. They have heart, they have feelings, they are just, I love them. These are two idiots who don't realize that they're in love with each other and are fake dating, and it's glorious, and I just wanted to smash them and make them kiss. Love them. I think that's pretty much everything for July. Yeah. July or June. Those were all June. July was my best reading month in the total number of books that I read. I read 19 books specifically in July because it was Sunrise on the readathon. As a Capricorn, I'm very proud of us. We were the first team eliminated last year in the inaugural scene. We got done dirty in the cornucopia, and I believe week 2 we were out. So it sucked. However, we became victorious and we read a ton of books. I'm so proud of all of the Capricorns. We were doing our due diligence. We were doing all of the things. In honor of that readathon, I did. My copy of Mockingjay was actually damaged in the Great Flood of 2024, and I didn't realize it until we got moved out and realized that that book is gone. So I do have to get a copy of these for Mockingjay in the blue cover, but I also did a reread of the entire series. I absolutely love The Hunger Games. I actually think Sunrise on the Reaping is my favorite book out of the entire series. I hate this man. I hate being in his head. I'm going to have to start with this one next year whenever Sunrise Run, the readathon comes around again. And I think I'm going to do it in inaugural, like in timeline order, and read it that way because I hate this man. The audiobook did, however, help with the reading of Snow's book. I did enjoy the audiobook. The narrator did a great job. If you are unfamiliar with The Hunger Games, what are you doing? This is a story of rebellion, of rising against the government, of children being sent to a game where they have to slaughter each other as penance for uprising against the Capitol. And it still feels very tight and true. It feels relevant even to this day in the current state of the world and affairs. I love these books. I'm waiting to see what Susanna is going to do for book 3 and the prequels. I would love Finnick, but that's me. I absolutely adore Finnick Odair. But I think it is going to be Plutarch, which would be super cool as to like how he really got ingratiated into the rebellion, even though he was totally on Haymitch's side. You see that through the entirety of Sunrise. I'm very excited for the Sunrise on the Reaping book, movie that comes out in November. It is actually already on my list, in my journal of I'm going to see it opening weekend. We have 3 more books, I think. No, we don't. We have 4. I read Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Haworth. A friend of mine from work borrowed it. It was for Sid's book club, and I got to chat with her about it. You should see the copy of my book. It is tabbed to hell and back. I absolutely loved that book. It was my favorite book of July. It was so sweet in the gay awakening, like learning who you are as a person, who society wants you to be. The writing was beautiful. Everything about that book was perfection. I loved talking about it. It was very poignant and relevant. And even if you have not been through that kind of story or situation or anything like that, you will still find those moments. Growing up in a very religious household, it still hit for me, and the small town aspects, like you can see yourself in those characters, even if you are not dealing with that version of young love. It was such a great conversation with Sid. Highly recommend that book. It might be my favorite book of the year so far. Right now it's between Sunburn and The Poet Empress. I loved that book. It was glorious and beautiful and everything I wanted. Last few that we're really going to talk about, because I did read some Murderbot. Loved those novellas. I did read For Whom the Bell Tolls by J.C. Lynn. Quite enjoyed it. If you like the TikTok, it gives before the TikToks really take place, before Penny joins the help desk. Book 2 is Penny and Greg's story. I did read Taurus Season by Bryn Weaver over audio. That was great. Had a grand old time. I have Book 2 currently waiting in my library holds. And then we have 3 more books that I physically read. Ready Player One, I talked about in one of the vlogs. It actually might be one that is coming out. You may have already seen this, but it is a Roll for Reads book that I read. This is to help with getting the world set up for my next Kids on Bike campaign. So I'm not going to talk about this one since it is already in a vlog. The last 2 that I have, I always read the Ashley Poston book that comes out. I actually really loved this one. It is about a gardener who escapes to Maine, is dealing with grief, and keeps seeing a door appearing in her garden that she has no idea how it is. And the magical realism is magical realizing. I really enjoyed this book. I think it's super sweet. I think that the chapter title names are great, and you need to actually read it to understand what those are for and why they're there. I had a great time with this book. And the last book that I read was Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein, I think is how you say her last name. This is 30 Years of Family Secrets, 2 sisters who have never met, one summer to unravel it all. We meet Vivian and Lucy in Maine. Lucy actually lives in Maine. Vivian always visits in August. Lucy is always there in July, and it's to spend time with their dad, except their dad never told them about one another. And it follows the journey of these 2 women after their dad's death and what they are dealing with in their grief, dealing with in their lives, divorce. I do have an issue with one of the characters in this book because of a plot point. Again, cheating is a big thing for me. I do not like the cheating trope at all. I will chuck a book for no other reason other than that. However, it is prevalent to this because of what that character goes through. It's part of that growth and understanding of why you are acting that way and doing the things that you are doing. So it does make sense. I stuck with it and I actually really enjoyed this book. And that was... It was hard. I almost DNF'd it when I realized what was happening. But they end up coming together and figuring out the lies, stories, and the truths about their entire family. Their mothers are also involved, but it was a book of sisterhood and growing as a person. So I really enjoyed, and I would read more from this author. I liked the way that she wrote the book. So that is relatively all of the books that I have read in the last 4 months. We have many books to read. We're in no way, shape, or form done. We're currently doing a new episode of Roll for Reads. We're going to do some bookrecs coming out here of some top 10s maybe. because I read a lot of audiobooks. So that's going to be one of the things that I do want to talk about. For now, tell me what the best book that you read was in the last quarter. Tell me all of the things that you're excited to read. Give me all of those recs. I want to hear from you guys. But I guess that's it for the wrap up. Like I said, I read a lot of books. I enjoy a lot of them. There's some misses, which is just the way that it is. Reading is subjective. These are all of my opinions on the books that I have read over the past couple months. But for now, I guess that's everything. So again, do the YouTube things, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.